Sixth episode begins with James T. Kirk records a first officer's personal log for an unknown stardate. The USS Farragut is conducting a planetary survey of an uninhabited M-class planet. But Kirk is growing bored. He's questioning the orders of Captain Varel. She's by the book, which isn't Kirk's style. Kirk suggests a landing party, but Varel feels this would be an unwarranted risk. Kirk presses the matter, but he's interrupted by an unknown force impacting the planet's surface. The damage is so severe that it affects the Farragut. Soon, the bridge is badly damaged, with Varel critically injured and unconscious. Alarms sound and sparks fly. Kirk calls a medical team and sends a distress signal. But there's interference blocking the comm signal. Kirk looks in horror at something on the view screen. The USS Enterprise arrives and immediately begins defending the damaged Farragut. An away team composed of Christine Chapel, Uhura, Spock, Lon, and Scotty beams aboard the Farragut. There are life signs aboard, but barely enough to crew the ship. The away team finds an injured Farragut crew member. He says whatever attacked the ship was huge. All comms are down. Spock tells them to go, but to head to the bridge once they have done what they need to do. Spock, Uhura, and Leon arrive on the bridge. Uhura says she may be able to set up line-of-sight communications. Soon, Christopher Pike appears on the view screen. Kirk doesn't know if the threat is still in the area. He recounts what happened to destroy the planet. The ship that caused it was several orders of magnitude bigger than any starship on record. Pike orders a full evacuation. They will prioritize the critically injured patients in medical. Spock restores some sensor function. He sends the data back to the Enterprise with Lon, who returns to the Enterprise. But then they lose contact with Enterprise. The enormous ship has returned. It fills the view screen, approaching Enterprise. Although Enterprise fires, the giant ship swallows Enterprise whole. But the ship passes Farragut by and jumps to warp, leaving Farragut behind. Farragut comms are no longer blocked. Rel had already been beamed to Enterprise. Kirk is now the captain. Inside the giant ship, mechanical arms grip Enterprise. Pike and Una discuss the dire situation. Comms are still blocked. Farragut's data reveals the ship is incredibly advanced, but little else. Lon shares that remote Federation settlements have rumors about this salvage ship, ancient, deadly, and patrolling the edge of known space. Pike orders Una and Ortegas to get their engines back online so they can make a run for it. On Farragut, Kirk records an acting captain's log. He's asked the Enterprise officers to fill in for the missing Farragut crew. Scotty identifies a piece of a Klingon ship within the mystery ship, suggesting even Klingons couldn't fight their way out. Scotty points out that Farragut is so banged up, unlike Enterprise, it wasn't worth being taken. Kirk says Scotty may need to perform some miracles. He orders Chapel to patch up the wounded and get them back on duty. Aboard Enterprise, La'an and Pike make their way to engineering. On the way, they encounter Pelia. She tells them to lower their weapons and says she didn't get to be 5,000 years old by getting shot a lot. And she informs them that engineering is flooded with toxic gas. One of the aliens' umbilical tentacles has broken through the hull and is draining auxiliary power and data from engineering. They need to disconnect it if they want the power to escape. Aboard the Farragut, Scotty curses in frustration from within a Jeffries tube. Kirk approaches and asks him for a time estimate. He further informs Scotty that the mystery ship is heading towards Sullivan's planet, an inhabited pre-warp civilization. Kirk wants to get there first to set a trap for the mystery ship. Scotty is skeptical that the Farragut could warp faster than the mystery ship. Kirk acknowledges it's a risk, but tells Scotty to prepare for maximum warp. Elsewhere aboard Enterprise and wearing EV suits, La'an, Pike, and a red shirt walk through the gas-filled hallways. They encounter two scavengers in large, identity-concealing spacesuits. The red shirt takes a hit. Farragut is approaching Warp 7. They overtake the scavenger ship. They will reach Sullivan's planet in 2 hours if they maintain their speed. But then Farragut unexpectedly drops out of warp. Uhura reports a loss of engine power. They're in the scavenger's path. Scotty arrives and says the plasma manifolds have failed. They're beyond repair. Scotty says they pushed too hard and are now dead in the water. On Enterprise, Lyon and Pike struggle with the red shirt. They have to treat her immediately. But the two scavengers are still in pursuit. Their suits seem to absorb phaser fire. Our heroes slip into the port galley, but the red shirt is already dead. Lyon says the ion particles are primitive but effective weapons. The scavengers are attempting to break into the galley. Pike orders phasers set to kill. He grabs an imported bottle of liquor. The scavengers enter. Lon rolls the bottle to their feet. Then she shoots it, causing it to explode in flames. This allows Pike and La'an to escape into the hallway. Meanwhile, Kirk is depressed. Spock says they need a new plan. Kirk tries to figure out what Vrel would have done. Spock shares Sam's opinion that James is a man of action. Kirk says that Vrel ignoring his suggestion in the cold open is the only reason he's still alive. Spock says he still must lead, despite his crisis in confidence. Kirk and Spock return to the bridge. Scotty estimates fewer than 20 minutes until the scavenger ship reaches them. Kirk delivers a captain's speech. He says he has no intention of giving up on rescuing the Enterprise. He asks them what they know about the scavengers. There must be a weakness. Uhura says the scavengers appropriate ships from across the quadrant. Scotty points out that its needs are bottomless. It's always moving towards resources and will never have enough. Kirk instructs Scotty to fill the plasma manifold until it's overflowing. Scotty says the manifold is a useless husk. Kirk says they need to make it look functional. Scotty can flood the antimax chamber with antiprotons so the manifold looks functional. Farragut will become impossible for the scavengers to resist. Then they'll make the scavengers regret it. On Enterprise, the two scavengers pursue Pike and Lon. Pike and Lon surprise them and attack. After a scuffle, Pike loses his visor, but one of the scavengers disintegrated and the other was injured. Lon gets Pike to safety. Pike wonders why the scavenger didn't kill him. The scavenger drops out of warp in front of Farragut. Farragut pilots away from the vessel's mouth. Its grabbers pursue them. Kirk orders Scotty to detach the nacelles. These collide with the scavenger's ship hull. When the grabbers connect with the hull, the scavenger ship is disabled. Farragut contacts Enterprise. They've temporarily disabled the scavenger ship. This is Enterprise's chance to escape. They begin to engage thrusters, but the umbilical is still skewering the ship. Lon and Pike are working to get the umbilical out. They manage to get it to retract. Ortegas calls out orders to Una and Mbenga on the thrusters. Una has an idea. She leaves the phone and runs through the halls. She depressurizes the airlock. The gas escaping the ship pushes Enterprise in the correct direction. Enterprise escapes the scavenger ship. Meanwhile, La'an and Pike find blood from the wounded scavenger. On Farragut, Spock reports the scavenger systems are coming back online, but the grapplers are resistant to their weapons. Spock suggests they fire photon torpedoes into the scavenger ship's open mouth. These trigger a chain reaction that causes the scavenger ship to explode. On Enterprise, Lon and Pike come upon the scavenger's body. Kirk instructs Spock to scan the debris for life signs. There are 7,000 dwindling life signs, but they can't beam the survivors aboard. Pike removes the scavenger's helmet. It's a human. The scavenger life signs are all human. Kirk asks for a clearer image of the hull's markings. The hull displays a United States flag and an early Starfleet insignia. In Enterprise's ready room, Uhura shares data she found in the historical database. In the mid-20th century, before first contact, a group of human scientists believed Earth's environment was beyond repair. Thus, they built a ship, hoping to establish human civilizations on other worlds. But the ship disappeared, along with the crew and their families. They were never heard from again. Pike enters Farragut's ready room to speak with Kirk. He says Vrel will make a complete recovery. Pike assures Kirk he made the right call, saving hundreds of lives. But Kirk points out that there were 7,000 human casualties aboard the scavenger ship. Pike says having empathy for one's adversary is part of the job. Kirk says he didn't think of the scavengers as people until it was too late. Pike says that might be the lesson. He says this knowledge will continue to guide Kirk. He tells Kirk good night and leaves him in the ready room.